There we go. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hack Fukuoka July. Done as a stream today with me, Laurie from the Engineer Cafe, and
Brian. Hello, everybody.
hello. So I think today is going to be a little bit different from the normal times because we haven't got many people here. Looks like things are going back into the quasi state of emergency next week in Fukuoka. So we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to stream a few things and talk about a few different topics. But if you have any questions or topics you want to bring up, please use the YouTube comments and leave us a question and we'll answer them. We're going to look at a few different things. GitHub Copilot, Ink Script, some presentation tools. So there's a lot to get through. Let me do a quick introduction for the Engineer Cafe and Hack Fukuoka first. So if you've not been to the Engineer Cafe, then this is it. It's quite a striking building. And we're a free co-working space and maker space for engineers in Fukuoka. And we've got lots of different communities here and lots of different events. So hopefully we've got a little bit of something for everyone, including kind of beginners and advanced people. Have you been to any events that you enjoyed a lot here?
Oh my god, the synth event was great.
Yeah, the
so
synthesizer music making. Hopefully we're doing another one of those soon.
I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we had one last week or 2 weeks ago where we took apart 3D printers and looking at all the parts and the stepper motors. That was great fun.
So cool.
So if you're interested in doing maker type stuff, we got laser cutter, 3D printer, CNC, that's new, vacuum former, soldering station, oscilloscope, a lot of equipment that you might not have at home.
So cool.
So if you want to come along and use it, it's all free to use. Just do some safety training. And we've got these spaces upstairs and downstairs for just study and events. There's actually quite a few people here today, but it's been a bit quiet the past few months for some reason. Right. So let's keep going. Let's look at our different topics. What order should we do the topics? I'm not sure. So well planned. Anything that strikes your fancy? What do you want to go for first?
Well, I saw that you had up the was it the Copilot?
GitHub Copilot.
Yeah, I've not had a chance to play with it. I've been in GitHub lately, but I haven't played with Copilot, so I'm eager to see how that works.
Let's try it then.
I know nothing about it, so
okay.
I'll need a full introduction.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about GitHub Copilot as our first topic. Then I hope everyone can see this window. So right now it's available in beta version, as a plugin for VS Code, Visual Studio Code, and what it is AI assisted programming.
What?
So, yeah, exactly. I keep paying you for these reactions. But basically, Microsoft and GitHub have developed this with all the code that's on the GitHub repositories. We might talk about some of the issues with that in a minute. But basically, it's AI code suggestions. So it's kind of one step more than just your regular code suggestions, where you might get, you'd start typing the name of a function and it will finish it off. Or it will tell you the arguments, or it will give you some extra things like that. So this is next level. So where should we start? Let's start with something simple. One of the cool things about the code suggestions is you can type a comment, and it will finish what you want from the comment. So
what?
Yeah. So I'm in Python here. I hope everyone, can I make it a little bit bigger, maybe? How do I make the text bigger? Is it Control plus or something? Oh, that's too big.
Yeah.
So if I type a comment like, what's some simple function someone might write? Make string uppercase, right? That kind of thing. And if you don't use Python often, you might just Google what the function is. It's kind of like a faster Google sometimes. So, of course, when you do the live demo, it doesn't work. Okay, maybe I need to make a slightly more detailed comment. Function to uppercase. this is Google Copilot. So Google
Okay.
Copilot is finishing my comment for me. But okay, that's fine. Okay, so it's giving me a function definition. pretty like handy already. That's not exactly hard to write, though, is it? But it will give me some the finished function as well. So that is it basically. That works. Yeah, so that's the basic idea, right? You can type in something
Yeah.
and get Copilot to finish it off for you. So let's keep going.
Huge.
And try and write a few more bits and bobs
Yeah, yeah.
and see what we do. Nothing's prepared for this, so I don't know. What could we write? so already it's thinking maybe you want a function to do the opposite. Let's try something more complicated though, like maybe what do people do? So maybe you write regex for something, and
Sure.
writing regex can sometimes be a bit annoying.
How about regex for like a telephone number?
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. So if I do something like validate telephone number.
Okay.
So it's given us a function. Let's see what it wants to do. Okay, so not the most complicated validation.
Okay.
It's checking if it's got a certain length. And this is a very particular length for a very particular phone number. And it's all check it. Okay, it's digits. That kind of makes sense.
I feel like we're learning a lot about some of the code bases that are out there.
Yeah, so this is all based on real code written
Yeah.
by real people. That's a little bit simple, isn't it? I'm not sure that's useful for everyone's application. So even if you use GitHub Copilot, you've still got to be able to read the code, understand the code, don't mess it up. Let's try writing a bit more code this time and see if it guesses kind of what we're going for.
I just thought of another 10-digit code, ISBN. Is that what you call it? On the
Yeah,
back
yeah,
of a-
yeah. Like a book.
Yeah, there's like a
ISBN.
checksum in there, right?
Oh yeah, I think okay. Let's just write a comment. ISBN. Okay, checksum maybe. Check. See if that comes up with anything. Okay.
Ah. Okay.
It's still doing a very similar thing. You see, I'm writing so much code right now that I've no idea if this is correct. I can't read it as fast as I can write it. And that's kind of when it finishes. I don't know. Like, I'd have to check what the definition of the ISBN checksum is. So it's doing kind of some even check.
Yeah.
It's making a sum. Maybe it works.
It's good to me.
But this function doesn't return.
Yeah.
So what does it do with the sum? That's a bit strange.
Yeah.
So already we kind of not quite right. Yeah, so I think it's easy to see the limitations
Sure.
already. Let's keep messing around. It wants to start doing some. Okay, let's see what it does. It wants to-
I feel like we're on a what do you call it, like a Ouija board? like we're talking to the other side.
There's a little bit of that, isn't there? Okay, let's try something where we don't start with a comment because he keeps wanting us to write validators. Okay, let's do something that's not a comment. Let's do, what might be fun? Let's see if it can guess what our function is if we don't give it a good name. So let's def function x. So, it's already giving us, okay, so it gives us x squared if we want to do that. No. What about for a in x? So imagining x is some kind of array. So we're really giving it very little context, so it's hard for it to guess. But if we change the variable name to something else, maybe we've got a list of people or names or something. So it's just printing out a list of people's names. Interesting stuff. You see, I think I've had it switched on for about a week, and I've been writing a little bit of code, and I think maybe it's handy for things that you would have Googled, like where you would have checked out a little bit Oh,
Good evening, good evening.
are you coming to the event?
Yes.
Oh well,
Fantastic.
basically there was no one signed up,
Yeah,
so
sorry, I just at the last minute. But
pull
you
up a
also
chair.
want-
Pull up a chair.
Okay, I'll thank you
Join
very
us.
much.
Join us.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the camera, so if you want to be on camera
Okay, yeah, well.
or not, we're just streaming GitHub Copilot right now. Have you
Yes.
tried it?
I've heard about it, but didn't.
Oh, so this,
it.
yeah, I mean, this was all written by GitHub Copilot.
Oh.
We were just saying that if you put in a comment, it will write the function for that comment.
Ooh.
And now we're trying to get it to guess what functions do.
Ooh, okay.
Do you want
I
to try
see.
something? There's a keyboard plugged in there.
Oh my
This is
gosh.
Python. It's pretty simple.
Python. Oh man. I have no idea.
Yeah, so it really just it gives you random suggestions, and it gives you suggestions based on what the names of things are as well.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. Yeah. Do you want to try?
So we have A here, and that's kind of neutral.
I mean, this is.
So
kind
what do
of-
we have so far? Like, do we have any meaningful stuff?
Well, we started off by we said, okay, if we write this function,
Okay.
we wrote the comment, and then it wrote the function for us.
Shit.
And then we wrote this comment, and it wrote this kind of OK telephone validator.
Okay.
So we wanted to try and make it write some regular expressions for us.
Ah.
So let's try that, like regex for a valid name or
Oh,
something like
yeah.
that. Okay.
Oh, doesn't look that bad. Looks good actually.
Yeah.
So it's what, a capital letter followed by one or more lowercase letters. Yeah, I mean that kind of works for a single name.
It's at least one. Okay, cool. Man,
Yeah, so
inspiration.
I feel like we need more microphones. But
So how has this been helping you so far, Laurie? Like,
yeah, I think it's been really useful because it saves you time Googling things. Like if you can't remember what the name is it uppercase? It's just like a little bit more than using kind of autocomplete normally. But it's not much more because, we had it write this whole function. And I don't trust that without having to read it, and think about what it's doing. And, is this indented wrong? Is this in the wrong order? I don't trust it.
But it compiles, right? It's kind
It's
of.
passing the linter, I guess.
Oh, the linter, yeah.
But is the meaning correct?
Yeah, it might be good at tool for, I don't know, practicing your review skill.
Yeah.
Is this correct, dear?
I mean, you have to.
Well, looks good. Looks good to me.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah. I think it could be useful, but I don't think it's going to write your whole system for you.
Sure.
It's not going to do any of the hard stuff.
Sure.
It's maybe just going to make the easy stuff a little bit smoother, perhaps. It always freaks me out when it finishes a piece for me, though. Like, I know exactly what I was going to write.
Okay.
It's a little bit weird when that happens.
Sure. I could see this being useful instead of importing a library that's super simple.
Yeah?
Do you remember a whole debacle years ago with LeftPad on,
Oh.
was it NPM?
Is it JavaScript and NPM, and there was like a very simple.
Yeah.
What was the story?
So there's a very simple library,
yeah. Mhm.
LeftPad, and all it did is it added white space to the left side of a string. And that's something that probably coders could be asked like on a interview question
Yeah,
or something
yeah,
super simple.
yeah.
But like enough lazy coders, sorry if you're lazy coders out there, sorry.
Yeah, I love lazy coders.
But enough people had linked to this library, and then the owner of the library just gave it away, and someone else came in and I think they did something malicious or maybe just deleted the whole thing. I'm not sure which, but like a ton of software all went down because everything was
Wow.
linking to LeftPad. But something like this, probably just like a few keystrokes could
Yeah.
write it, and there's no linked dependencies.
Pad.
Pad a string with 0.
Pad
Left
string
pad.
with 0. Okay. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Z fill in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No links, no dependencies anymore.
Yeah, I think it's not the end of the world. Like, programmers are going to stop having jobs. It's just another useful tool. If you've ever seen someone who's got like a really mature editor setup with like loads of macros and loads of extra functions, I think it's just going to be replacing some of that.
Well, the point is just the beginning.
Yeah.
It's the kind of the first kind of workable, half workable version of what might the future look like.
It could, I mean, it will come.
I could imagine like to dictate my compiler what to do, yeah, or like how to format the data, or yeah, that's basically what we 90% of the time do, right? We
Right.
get something and then okay, need to be visualized somehow. Something must happen. So yeah.
I can imagine you having kind of input knobs, almost like a big machine, being like, write some more verbose code, please. Or write some code that's less accurate but faster.
Reduce the humor.
And you're just kind of twisting knobs,
yeah.
like on a big
Could
machine.
be.
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, so this was GitHub Copilot. The other issue that's been everyone's been talking about has been licenses, software license, because the code is all from GitHub. So a lot of that code is GPL or on other licenses that are not permissive for certain things. And it seems that Copilot will produce that code, like almost perfect copy. And that's a worry. So I don't know what we can do about that right now.
I don't know, maybe it's more like a legal thing that needs to be sorted out.
And like just a social thing. Maybe we should refuse to use Copilot until they take that stuff out. That's not a...
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that they even use the private repositories on GitHub for training on this.
Yeah.
That's kind of a, well...
I think we're going to see more of this with AI in the future, where some action that a person cannot do, an AI can do without causing any legal problem. I think it's happening in the law a little bit, where the court, instead of like a person saying, hey, send this person to jail for 10 years, it's a computer system that calculates based on risk factors, send this person to jail for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot less scrutiny for whether that system is maybe racist or sexist or something else. So we've got to watch out for that. I mean, this is maybe the legal system is much worse than the small potatoes of a few licenses, but it's happening. So that's a bit of a depressing end to get.
Well, that's something to be aware of. The early struggle, but.
Yeah, but a very interesting tool. So I recommend if you can get on the beta and give it a try, have a look, see what you think.
Definitely. Does this work with every language or only with Python?
It works with other languages too. We just picked up Python today, but I've tried it with JavaScript as well. I've not tried it with more esoteric languages. I wonder if the languages with less data will have worse suggestions, like if you're trying to write some prologue. Maybe it will work, but maybe not.
I wonder if you can write machine code in binary. Just start typing ones and zeros and see what comes up.
And then you never know what it does. Looks good to me. Awesome. Well, that was kind of my warm-up topic for today. Do you wanna go to your topic and have a chat?
Sure, we could. I don't have a lot of visuals.
That's all right.
Except just the one.
Let's switch over to this screen. Is it?
Yeah. Okay. So. A bunch of things have all been kind of converging lately. Recently, I checked out the 3 Blue 1 Brown channel, and I totally recommend everyone check this out, especially if you are either interested in math explainers or if you're interested in doing any of the explainers of your own, whether it be programming or I don't know, like Linux, anything you're interested in explaining. Grant has been encouraging people to participate in a kind of contest to put together some kind of math explainer. And so I think the video is great. It's really, what should I say, it has like a lot of good information and a lot of good motivation. And he also links to the Discord. And I checked out the Discord. There's a whole lot of people up there. So in addition to trying to make my own video, I'm also really interested in networking with other people who are trying to make explainers and make videos. I make a few videos at home, and I have a few thoughts about what kind of tools are good for presenting. So in the next few weeks, I really want to start making my own tutorials about how to present, how to edit a video, you know, how to put something up on the web, you know, because I do have some thoughts and some experience with this. One of the things I wanted to talk about today was a tool called HackMD. Have you guys heard of HackMD?
I think I've heard you mention it a few times. Yeah,
I've probably been in your ear about it. But for you, it's your lucky day. You get to hear about HackMD. The MD is short for Markdown. It's a Markdown tool, and it has a ton of great integration with GitHub, which is really nice. You can pop it open, and in addition to like writing your README or whatever, you get a lot of like really strong like Git tools for version control. But maybe the thing I'm the most excited about is that it's got an integration with another library called Reveal.js. Have you heard of Reveal.js? Boy, I feel like I'm just evangelizing for every library.
I can Google it and just show. Yeah.
Sure.
Keep going.
So Reveal.js is a really powerful JavaScript library for basically slideshows.
Okay.
And by kind of merging those two together, you can write Markdown that generates some really nice presentations. You can start with something that just looks like a document, but in 1 or 2 clicks, you've got a slideshow going. And if you are willing to get under the hood with Reveal.js, you can really do a lot of great things as far as like different ways to transition and different kinds of backgrounds. I love this presentation, especially if you keep going to where they show like the different kinds of backgrounds and stuff, or these animations and stuff.
Nice. Okay, cool.
All
Can you
of
see the code here?
Yeah.
Scroll to access docs. Oh, okay. So
I think you can highlight all that too. Like that's not an image. That's So just like the demo shows, you can do really nice animation, and the amount of code required for this is really minimal. And HackMD takes it the next step to like a lot more Markdown integration and close integration with Git. So really, this is kind of taking the whole workflow of making a slideshow and really streamlining it a lot. So today my sell is for HackMD and Reveal.js. These are really great presentation tools that I recommend for people just beginning. You know, Grant himself has some pretty powerful tools that he talks about in this video, but he himself says that these are really powerful and probably not for beginners. So in contrast with Grant's own tools, I really think that Reveal.js is a good entry level for presentations.
Definitely. Very cool. There might be some other tools that also use Markdown to create presentations, but I feel like the Reveal.js is probably the original. Like it looks very advanced when it comes to animations and stuff.
Yeah.
I saw this in other tools.
I used it not with Markdown, but I used it with another site I made a few years ago, which was this kind of stage show presentation. So it was like pulling in lots of data from the audience, and they used the presentation with Reveal.js for the actual show. So
that's really cool.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it must have been Reveal.js, but it's been a long time since I made this. I really like this kind of boom on YouTube right now of mathematical creators and people, showing different things and fun things you can do with math. 3, blue 1, brown is great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I wish I would have had him as a math teacher.
Right.
Like I think I read all of his videos. You should check out this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I
great
love
explainer.
Stand-up maths is another one I really like.
Matt
Parker is very funny, and he's very good maths as well. Lots of practical things you can do. So, I mean, if anyone ever wants to make videos and make presentations, we have a lot of stuff here you can use as well in the Engineer Cafe. So cameras you can borrow, mics and audio equipment you can borrow. So if you want to get streaming and doing some stuff like that, you can come here. We got rooms downstairs, recording booths.
Just drop in like me and
just
start a YouTube stream.
You'll be live the moment you want.
What's happening here? Cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing I think kind of goes without saying, but like, at least for myself, like I'm very eager to be a resource. You know, like there's resources in the ways of like microphones and equipment, but like I'm eager to be a resource too. You know, like I'm kind of looking to talk to more people on Grant's Discord, but also within the Engineer Cafe community. I'd love to like answer anybody's questions about like messing around with some of these tools, because like I love it, you know. So consider me a resource as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and I think that a lot of that's true for most people here, right? Everyone wants to share knowledge and help each other out. Yeah, looking forward to seeing some of your math explainer videos. Cool. Do you want to talk about anything, Brennan? You got anything?
I'm very much unprepared.
It's okay.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I actually have one more thing.
Oh, good.
If you want to go over here.
Yes, I forgot
So
this.
yeah, this is the. Let me lean into the camera. This is the Ink programming language. Hang on, I got to get it right. I think Ink is the name of the language, and Inkle is the name of the tool, maybe. And basically, in fact, maybe I'll just Google it first and show everyone. Yeah, Inkle Studios is a game dev studio. And they made the Ink language because they wanted to scrimp. Oh, Inky is the name of the tool, I think. And it's got integrations with things like Unity. I think some third party has made a Godot integration. And if you go to the actual studio's website, you can find all the games they've made. This one I love it's called Overboard, where you murder someone and then you have to get away with it. And basically every sort of path in the game is kind of written with Ink script, and it's very complicated. So each day it's kind of like a Groundhog Day. You start again and you go, okay, I'm going to try and talk to this person now. Maybe I can get away with it like that. Okay, what if I push him overboard? Okay, didn't get away with that. And it's very complex. This one, Heaven's Vault, won a lot of awards. It's meant to be very, very good. There was also 80 Days, which is a huge game. Apparently the amount of text they wrote was like 3 times the books of the Lord of the Rings or something.
Oh my god.
And the whole point is, you're going around the world, you can go to loads of different countries, and things you do in one place affect the story in other places. And it was all developed using this language. So
you only write like very complicated nested dialogue systems with this one, or like that's with more stuff?
It's basically the first level is nested dialogues. So here I actually made a kind of how to write an email story. So if I click on this is the preview and this is the code. Each one of these sections it's called a knot. It's like part of the story. It's like a decision. And then it jumps to another knot when you finish. So this is kind of the very basic level. So if I click on a correct one, I go, oh, okay, hello all, that's the correct one. And then it's too casual for work, I failed. And so it kind of goes through the paths. But it gets a lot more powerful than that. So you can do things like have sentences that vary randomly, just to make things a little bit different every time you go. You can have sentences that are conditional on whether you've been somewhere or not, or conditional on multiple things, like did you go outside and is it raining? If so, when you get into the house, you say, oh, my coat was dripping wet. And so it's kind of, I think the advantage of this is the writer can do the programming. And that's the most important part, because the writer needs to decide lines like my coat was dripping wet and get the right feeling for that. And if they have to send each one of those things to some programmer to get the rules coded in, it's not going to work. So really you need this kind of language that's not super complicated, although if you read the documentation, it goes in quite in depth to a few things.
I guess you can also, inject your external conditions into this writing system, so the writer can say, okay, now, if it's evening, then this dialogue happens.
Yes.
Something like this. I mean, it's out of his
So,
control, outside of his control.
Yeah, the basic idea is the story branches and then the story joins back together.
Okay.
So that's that. But there's lots of ways of like dividing the story. So I'm trying to find a good example. Yeah, so conditional choices, multiple conditions, all the logical operators, so you can have quite a complicated condition. Yeah, variable text, just to change the feeling of the story, so you don't feel like, you can make it feel like you're in a world. Like, this one will only give you this option once, and then your character is kind of running out of patience, so they grimace instead of smile. Shuffles. I toss the coin, heads or tails, and things like that. So I think if you were trying to write a really complicated story with like more numerical conditions, like an RPG game, it might be a bit too much. But anything else, it's really quite powerful. Yeah, so there are sort of numerical functions, but it's not really the main focus.
It looks like the code could potentially be really easily readable. Like even if someone's not proficient enough to write the code, they could at least read through it.
Yeah.
Which would be good for like a team and like collaboration and stuff. I can just imagine so much simple logic made confusing just by the syntax alone.
Yeah.
So it looks like this is kind of going towards like human readable.
I think exactly, yeah. And so I think if you were just doing a simple story, this is probably all the syntax you need. It's only maybe 2 or 3 characters.
It's not much.
Yeah, you need like a section title, a choice in the section, and then a link to the new section. And that's really enough to make quite a complicated story.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to do more, like I said, the Unity integration, the Godot integration, all that stuff is great. One other thing I really like is it will export to a web readable thing. Will it export? It's probably down here somewhere. So you can, in one click, you can get your whole thing as a website. And you can just deploy this to any static site static site host. And it just works, and that's really convenient. So if you want to like try and make a story, it doesn't get in the way.
Yeah. It's great. I could really see that being like an entry level thing for someone who's like just like really into like RPGs or that sort of thing, and like doesn't have the background in pick a language or pick a platform, and maybe just wants to get started like today.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so quick to start. If you want to learn more, I recommend checking out the documentation. The quick start is very good. And there's a bunch of game developer conference talks on YouTube, which they talk about how they developed it. Because the first version, they didn't mean to develop a new language. It just kind of happened while they were making the game. And then the second version, they actually thought about it and made it a bit more neat. Yeah, really recommend it. Cool. That is all of my topics. See if we got any questions.
Yeah, let's look on the chat.
No,
Do we have any
no.
villagers, viewers,
Maybe not.
questions?
They're just shy.
Shy.
Should we talk about the Git event coming up next month?
Yeah, go for it. So, nice segue.
Totally smooth like butter. So Lori and I will be putting on a bilingual Git event. The goal, at least as I see it, as I hope we both see it, is really to kind of get people using Git who don't have a lot of familiarity with it.
Okay.
I think we want to teach some of like the kind of most basic tooling, but also I think like kind of like vocabulary and the ideas are important because you work in Git a lot?
Yeah, today, command line. So I wonder, like, who's the audience? Like people who like are more like in IT and would like to use Git, or deep understanding, or more for outside IT people. I don't know.
I would say we're kind of aiming low, like this is kind of like an entry level thing,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean that like our audience can't be people who, how do I say, like maybe next they continue on to the advanced. So like this could be like a gateway for a lot of people.
Cool.
But yeah, I think we're trying to target people who like really are kind of getting started and maybe who. When I think about some of the people I'd like to reach are people who should be using Git, but like they're using like different file names or like no version control at all, and definitely to try to sell the whole idea of version control, because definitely, would you guys agree, like to begin with, there can be some hurdles learning why to use a version control, or why should I invest my time in learning this when I can just give things different file names?
Okay,
but
clearly there's advantages, right?
Yeah. I think definitely, like you said, aimed at beginners, maybe students or people who are starting to learn to program, because maybe if you've started writing some Python, you've started writing some JavaScript, but you haven't done that much. Git is often included in those tutorials, but it's given, you get given 3 or 4 magic commands and you kind of use them without understanding the why or the how. So if you're at that level and you've used Git once or twice, but you're not quite sure why you're using it or what it's for, definitely something to
that sounds cool.
get involved with.
So you will use UI for that, or the command line, or bring my own machine?
Definitely bring your own machine.
Yeah. Bring your own machine. We're going to have some maybe activities kind of based around the reasons why we use Git, a bit of kind of hopefully exciting and fun kind of games, and then a bit more of study and using Git.
I definitely hope people aren't just sitting on their hands watching the whole time. Like, I really like to encourage people to like do something, whether it be on their own machine or in some of the activities, or even just kind of reaching over somebody's shoulder. I hope that people are going to be doing something.
Yeah, definitely. I think, looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah. And I definitely love to hear from anyone in the community who is really good at Git, or really looking for interest in kind of getting involved, because the more heads the better. We're kind of putting together the material and kind of like the use cases, what we want to teach, but always the more the merrier, for any input. Any Git gurus out there, we're calling you.
Well, Git can become very deep, so.
Yeah, and also the bilingual aspect I think is important.
Yes.
I know a lot of people work in international teams, and there's maybe lots of native Japanese speakers who are writing sort of Git commit messages in English and working in a lot of English writing, even if their spoken language is Japanese. So hopefully that aspect will be useful for other people too. Let's talk about a bunch of other events actually. There is the synthesizer event.
Oh, cool.
However, I'm slightly worried by the current state of emergency that's been declared. The plan was to be doing this next month.
August 14th.
Maybe ignore that date right now,
Okay.
and just the basic content. Last time we looked at synthesizers and the kind of how they work and what they do. This time is more about using MIDI instruments together and making a kind of sequence on your audio workstation, which recently I've bought a tiny keyboard and I've been getting involved with that. Oh, it's so exciting.
That's cool.
You could already do something.
Yeah, virtual orchestras are amazing now. So keep an eye, if anyone is interested, just keep an eye on the Compass page with sort of Engineer Cafe and search around for that, and that's the best place to find events if you're ever interested. Cool. Anything else happening?
Not so much. For my topics, or it's maybe a bit too specific. It's very mobile and programmer specific stuff. So.
What is the new hotness in mobile programming? Are you a Flutter guy?
No, not really. But Flutter is also interesting.
Yeah.
Flutter 2 recently, or a few months ago, released.
Mm-hmm.
I think in general it's interesting to see with the new languages or newer languages like Swift and Kotlin that we kind of finishing the shift from this object-oriented programming world into kind of a mix or take big influence from the functional programming, and that is very new for many people. And the whole community tries to figure out what will be the future in this field, and so a lot of movement and change is happening there. So I feel like that is one of the very interesting things that's happening right now, and will happen in the next years. Like we have Swift UI on the iOS systems, or Jetpack Compose, also recently released in version 1.0. So that is very similar to Swift UI. You have a declarative way to describe your UI cross-platform, and you need to know much more about the state that you were handling, because that is where you derive your UI from. So you don't describe your UI like what should I do, like recipe-wise. You define it up on your state that you have, and that comes with a lot of challenges or new ideas. Like it's kind of narrowed down, but it's also good because you don't have so many creative ways to do this, which is eventually good, I think. Otherwise, you have a very diverse code.
I'm coming at this as I'm not a mobile developer at all. Can you explain it in terms of web development? Like, what is a similar, so Swift UI, that kind of programming paradigm, what is it similar to in the world of web? Is it like writing these kind of React components, or is it like, what does it feel like?
I feel like the web is maybe a few years ahead. All the problems that we try to solve on the mobile has already been solved or went through to a degree. So what I'm personally very interested in is, I think in web it's called the Redux pattern, or so you have a single function which gets a state and an action that happens, and you act upon that and return another state. So I think for everyone who tried this out and with bigger apps, you might end up with a very gigantic reduce function. And the continuous idea on this is to make this composable, so composable over the actions and composable over the state, so you can glue together different states. So the deeper you dive into the app or the feature set, you kind of wrap open new little micro worlds or modules there. So like how to glue this together, that's one of the hot topics, I think, for the future.
Yeah, oh, sounds interesting. Yeah, I'd love to learn more. I need to.
Yeah, but I'm not sure, I'm not really web guy, so I can't say much about
Oh, okay.
that. Yeah.
Nice. I think that's all of the topics that we really wanted to cover today. Just have another token check of the question. No questions.
No questions. Yeah, that's okay.
I'm just going to write that.
I think it means we were very efficient.
We covered everything.
Yeah.
All topics in tech.
Silence.
Well, actually, there was one more thing just when we were getting ready, we mentioned that the downstairs, the makerspace is kind of got a lot better and a lot nicer.
Yeah, you did something recently, I saw.
So we've now got, let me just introduce what we've got and talk about it a bit. We've now got a CNC machine, which is like will mill, if you put a drill bit and it moves around in 3D, and it will cut out wood and cut out metal shapes.
Yeah. So cool.
Very, very cool. We've got the same 3D printer we had before and the same laser cutter, and they're still great. There's also now a kind of electronics station, so with an oscilloscope and a soldering iron and power supplies and things like that, so you can kind of make your projects there. There's like a small band saw if you ever need to cut out some parts and shapes. There's also a vacuum form machine. I don't quite know if we've got it up and running yet. It's pretty old. But if you want to make kind of molds.
Okay.
We were talking about going to do like a quick run down there, but I think there's actually 3 people using it right now, so it might be quite busy. Actually, a couple of high school students came to use it, so it's kind of cool to see them doing that. Yeah. But if you want to come try it out, it's all free, like everything is at the Engineer Cafe. So please do.
Yeah. I want to use this. I need some instruction, or I can apply.
Yeah, so you need safety training,
Safety
especially.
training.
I feel like the things are getting more and more dangerous. So the laser cutter, you can start a fire, but like the bandsaw, you can just cut your finger off.
Yeah.
How many more months before we get a box of dynamite?
We should.
So I don't know.
Yeah, so you do need safety training. If you want to organize that, it takes about an hour. Come speak to me, or find me on Twitter, or just find me in person, or speak to the other staff here as well. Most of them speak some level of English, so if you're not confident in Japanese, don't worry. Yeah, but please get involved. Right now, I think our closing time is maybe going to come a little bit earlier next month. It's going to maybe be 9 o'clock again because of the quasi-state of emergency. So please be aware of that. But we're still open in the day, so we're still open for people coming in person. So please do come. Yeah, that's about everything. Should we sign off, or chill for a bit? See if they can bring some beers in from next time. Not doing that.
Let's tell everyone about the great kegger we're about to have before we sign up.
Keg stand in the basement.
Sorry you guys couldn't be
That's
here
what
to
you
enjoy
miss,
it.
yep.
Maybe next time you'll be here.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't guarantee for the beer. It might be empty by then.
I guess yeah. We'll maybe sign off there then. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for listening.